Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. We're going to talk about inside the narcissistic mind. And there are some key differences. It's kind of interesting. Now, narcissists are known for lying, but there's a reason that they do it. And understanding why they do it can kind of help predict if they're ever going to be able to change. Narcissists create their own reality. Often they will believe in their truth. They created this truth because they're entitled. They feel certain things, like let's say you had a baby and you're unable to have sex for the next few weeks because you're healing. They'll feel entitled to go out and cheat. So they'll shift onto you that it was your fault for taking time away from the sexual activities, and they won't see it as cheating. Like they'll believe that they're entitled to, kind of like you guys were on a break instead of you had a baby. In their mind, since they're entitled, they'll kind of see it that way. And if you question them, they get into this uncomfortable zone. And that's why they have to get rid of the pain that they feel. Now, inside their brain, in the amygdala, there's actually something that's like secreted when they do tell a lie, something that soothes them. There's like more of a change in their thought process. It soothes them. So as they continue lying, it suppresses their pain. And that's why they have this intense need to lie. They'll lie about little things. And knowing why they do it can make a huge difference on predicting whether or not they will ever change. They don't want to feel that pain. That pain is with them 24/7, and they feel so bad about themselves, so unsure of who the true them is, because they created this false reality of who they are, how they should be treated, what they deserve. Their whole reality is mixed up in their mind. It's very unsettling to them. They often get love, but they also know that they're not worthy of it because of the way they treat people. So they're all stirred up inside. They know sometimes that they hurt people. Other times they don't reflect. So sometimes they don't even know. They feel that entitled to just say whatever, to shift blame. They do something called splitting. They'll do that with people, and they do it with themselves in a sense. Because what happens is they'll see either all good or all bad. They really don't see the in between. If you notice when the boat isn't rocked, when everything is perfect, a lot of times they'll be pretty good to you. But if you try talking to them, which makes them question uh, whether you see them as all good or all bad, they don't see the in between, that we're just trying to talk. We might be a little ticked off, but we still see them as a good person. Um, so they can either be all good, and they strive not to feel all bad. And so as they lie, it soothes them because of the amygdala and what's going on in there. And then they will blame shift, because if we question them where they feel shame, they need to put it off on us. They need to repel that feeling of bad. So that's often why they uh, blame shift, or do the gaslighting, to bring everything into circles, to where they don't have to let that shame cross over that one line and push them into being all bad. They'll do that with people. They'll either have really good friends or total disregard for others. They can walk by a dying person on the street, not even thinking to call 911. There's different extreme variations in how narcissistic they can be. So some will, be the good Samaritan, but there are some that just have absolutely no feeling. They won't even look back like, man, I should have done that. I should have helped that person out. A lot of times, like, they even forget it happened. Their reality is whatever they create it to be. And that's why they are constantly changing it, because sometimes it works, other times it doesn't, or it didn't go quite as planned. And they keep lying to trick us into certain things like, no, we agreed to that, or you promised to do that for me. And we're like, we didn't even talk about it. So as they lie, they'll often say just little things like, I've never told a lie. There's no way I would ever do that. I would never hurt you, knowing that they do often hurt us, or they'll promise not to cheat, and they know, you know, uh, they'll end up doing that. Some of them sub- subconsciously believe that they're not going to cheat. Others know that they will. Not all narcissists cheat, but usually they'll cheat in some way, whether it's emotional cheating, or uh, cheating with time, where we're in this relationship to be with each other. And so instead of focusing on us in an appropriate amount of time, they'll often delve into their work because they need the supply, the adoration from their coworkers because they're not getting enough at home, or it pays off more at work. They have to be the best of the best, or the worst of the worst. So they'll either, try extra hard at work sometimes. Like I said, each narcissist is different, but they lie as a self-preservation mode. And the more they lie, the more comfortable they feel. And it's just the little lies, all day long. Like, no, I didn't drink any milk today. Like, who cares? I'm just asking. Um, but the reason for the lying is to get that amygdala stimulated. So they feel like a little bit of a soothing to them. It's kind of just like a little band-aid though. It's doesn't take away all the pain. And that's why they continue to do it. They continue to do it. They just need that quick fix. It's like an addiction to them, to where that's the only way that they feel comfort. If they start getting uncomfortable, that's when the blame shifting comes, because if you ever question a narcissist and they they can't take feeling the shame that they feel, to feel any little crumb of any shame, because they already have so much shame. It's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. So we think we're just talking about something, did you forget to make the bed today? They're like, oh, how dare you ask me that? Like, I'm a grown man or grown woman. I know what to do. And then they get angry, and they'll shift it. Well, they'll start, well, did you do the dishes last night? And you're like, I'm just asking if you made the bed. Like, they don't focus on the question at hand. They could answer that question and then say something like, about us doing the dishes before, but they will not handle the situation at hand. Um, and the skewed realities that they have, um, sometimes they do totally believe their lies. I would never hurt you, because they think they're a good person. And it's like, you just did this, or I asked you to pick me up at work, and then you're like, oh, I forgot, sorry. As opposed to, like, they didn't really care that they forgot. It's like, oh, whatever. And you're like, you know, uh, okay, you know, um, to where they take no accountability for, yeah, oh gosh, I forgot, I'm so sorry. Next time make sure you call me, or here's, I don't know, my sister's number in case you need a ride. I'm so sorry, it's not going to happen again. If they do say it's not going to happen again, if they get caught up playing video games or doing their own thing, it's going to happen again. They're not going to keep our needs at the forefront of their brain. And as you continue on in a narcissistic relationship, the lies get more and more. It gets harder for the narcissist to remember what they're saying. A lot of times they don't even put it into their mind that they lied about certain things. It just seems like reality to them. So they don't keep track of what they say to us. Usually when people lie, they should at least keep track of who they said it to. The more you lie, the bigger the hole gets. You got to lie to more people, and then it has to be a bigger lie to cover up. So it's not good to lie. But every little thing that they say is a lie. Um, And I should correct it, almost everything, almost everything. And that's where it gets confusing, because they do tell the truth sometimes. And usually it's kind of confusing when they do it, because sometimes it is just matter of fact, like there's nothing wrong with saying it. But at the same time, when there is nothing wrong with telling the truth, does it matter if it was your sister or your brother that called, and they'll lie, and it doesn't matter, but they lied to kind of soothe themselves, or to alter our reality so they can control us, to keep us off balance. So the reason they lie is to soothe themselves, to keep us off balance, to keep control, to push the shame that they feel onto the other person. Often it's the person that's closest to them, because they have conditioned us, they've trauma bonded us to where they're so self-confident that they're not going to leave. They already have that false sense of self, that they believe that they are this, you know, uh, perfect person who can do no wrong. They don't take accountability, so they won't keep up with commitments, whether it's activities or faithfulness, because it is all about them. And the lies that they tell can kind of cause a lot of damage sometimes. The more evidence you have against them, proving that lie, they usually don't back down. They usually dig in deeper, um, going to pretty great extremes to convince us that the truth that we know that is concrete, they'll still try to prove that we're wrong. And they come up with a lot of times, it's like, are you like, there's no way I believe it. Some of their excuses, um, or evidence as they would say it, uh, don't even make sense. So then it's a natural reaction to question them more, of like, that doesn't make sense. And so then they try to uh, continue on with the lie, and they build it bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's got to be exhausting for them. But it, it it keeps them from taking accountability. And when that gets to be like we're getting too close to their pain, we're trying to say no, take some of this shame, take some of this accountability, that they'll push it back on us harder. A lot of times that's where the rage comes in, or they'll just go sulk and do their little silent treatment. They usually do one or the other, or a mixture of both, depending on their mood that day or what works best. It's really hard to understand how somebody can hurt that much, to where everything that, like, so not only is their life a lie, this image that they created of themselves, they're creating a lie with who they're with. They're creating a lie because they're trying to transform us into somebody else, something subservient, where we have no needs. They have needs. They're trying to feed their needs. Somebody to help around the house, or this or that. Like, everybody has needs. And we were just objects like they think we are. They feel they purchased us, and they're entitled. So it's kind of like when we talk back, they're just trying to take control of the situation, to turn us back into objects, to just shut us up. A lot of times they'll appease us because they just want us to shut us up, because objects don't talk. Objects don't show emotion. Objects don't cry. So when we try to turn into a human, that kind of ticks them off. They like us doing things. That's robotic. They like us, cleaning, or cooking, or working, helping to pay the bills, taking care of the kids, running errands. That's kind of robotic in a sense. And a lot of times too, they'll push their luck on that. They'll see how much we will do for them. So as they cut us down, they gain more control over us. The more control over us, the more they get their way. They make us feel like we need to work harder. So that's an easy way. Cut us down, turn it around where we think it's our fault. So if we're at fault, we're the ones that need to try harder because it's our fault. They didn't do anything wrong. I see what they're saying. And they can mess with your mind to where we start doubting ourselves. So we do try harder. It's a lot easier to get somebody to do something when you make them feel like it's their fault, because they're trying to make things better. So they can say, well, I'll do this. And, we do it and it wasn't quite enough. So we have to do something even better the next time. And it's a vicious cycle. Um, and being inside a narcissistic relationship is so damaging to your heart, to your soul, to your focus, to your mental stability, that it will take so much away from you. You're going to try so hard. And in the end, you're going to end up, realizing, you know, in a sense, we were used for their needs. We miss the love bombing. We know they're capable of doing the right thing. They know what the right thing is, and they proved it with the love bombing. So right out the bat, you're like, this person knows what a great relationship is. It's talking and cuddling and doing activities and just being there for each other. But they'll swarm in on you. They'll blow your phone up, give you all this attention to kind of claim you. So often, they start relationships, full-fledged relationships, where you're instantly a couple. And sometimes it feels like we were swept off our feet. But did they really even get to know us? And then all of a sudden we're like claimed as their girlfriend or boyfriend and, working towards a future. And sometimes they'll purposely do things. I know my sister's husband had done this where she was not ready to marry him. They were in a relationship. She saw some red flags, and I don't necessarily know if he's a narcissist. I don't know him all that well. But what he had done is for his proposal to her, he made sure it was in front of all his family. And which sometimes if you have the right relationship, that's great. That can be great. But I think he knew that she was not quite ready. And he wanted to make sure she would say yes. So he kind of trapped her. And now this is the other side of the family where she doesn't have us, her biological family with her to even like look at us. So she's off in this different family where, of course, when you're dating, you always want to look good to the other family. And he proposes to her, and she was like all these people are like looking at her, and she's a little quieter. In her heart and her soul, she can be totally fun. She's super cool, but in her heart, she's kind of quiet. And it kind of overwhelmed her, and she's like, yes. And then she felt all trapped because everybody's like preparing for this wedding and talking about it and congratulating her, and she didn't know how to get out of it. So he had set it up, and that's kind of like what narcissists will do, is they'll set us up to get us to do what they want, just like he did with her. He wanted her to say yes, and then the whole sucking her in with everybody on board for this wedding, but she wasn't. They ended up getting married, and she wanted to back out. They ended up getting divorced. She saw the red flags before it even happened, but she was like, and she went through with it, just like a lot of us. We see red flags from the narcissist. We see that it's making us uncomfortable, the way we're being talked to, the way we're being taken advantage of. And we don't know how to get out of it because, we want that love bombing, and we just want to be loved. And the more time goes on, it's almost like if we come back or if we accept a Hoover, the narcissist takes it as everything that they have done to us. It's like a clean slate. Like we will accept whatever they give us because we went through all that stuff. They broke all our boundaries. They broke our hearts. They totally discarded us. They disregard our feelings. They get mad when we have feelings. And inside their heart, is really no compassion, no empathy. And all they care about is keeping the good and the bad at bay. So they lie to keep this false sense of everything's okay, because everything's not always okay, you know. And no matter what the situation is, the lying that they do is to get that soothing feeling, to keep everything away from this bad section. And when they lie to us and we don't accept it, it gets it to where they're seen as a bad person. We need to accept their lies. And then they get mad that we didn't accept their lies. So they tell more lies, trying to prove that they're right. And the hardest part is when they believe it, or like the gall that they have to even um, lie about things that are important. You know, like, did you pay the mortgage? Or, you know, you're diabetic. Did you test your blood sugar? Because you don't look like you feel good. Oh, yeah, I did. So, you know, we're worried they might go into diabetic coma. And they think they have it handled. They're better than everything. And we can't even question them. And then over time, we get put in our place to where we overlook things. Like, we don't want to get in a fight. And just the lies that we get, it steals our future from us. Because if you stay true to yourself, you guys are amazing people, and people are drawn to people like themselves. So the friends you'll have will be a reflection of what the narcissist takes from you. Um, like, you can pursue your friends, but the people that are going to be drawn to you, um, it will affect that as well. A lot of times that's why, you know, we start getting isolated. It's the control that they have over us. But the lies won't stop, even if they go to counseling. So please comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.